and welcome back to another episode of Kaluno's Gaming's Planet Coaster here in the Outlaw Ranch. So to start this video, I worked on the town a little bit. I spent a little bit of time here, so forgive me if this isn't as much of a roller coaster build or anything. It's more of kind of just the aesthetics of the town, and then later on in the video we get to the aesthetics of the roller coaster that we had just recently built. I still don't have a name for that one yet. I'm going to have to try to figure something out for that. And I believe we also get the Mustang sign put up. So, as you can see here, I'm kind of working with some of the pre-made structures. I'm not extremely awesome at buildings yet. I'm probably going to mess around a little bit, and maybe in the next episode we'll have a custom-made building as part of the queue path for the red roller coaster, is what I'm going to call it for now. But as you can see here, I'm just trying to get some spacing, trying to get them to line up with the path and have them a little bit of a distance from the path. I do eventually want to come back through here and put in some sort of foliage somewhere, but I feel like it's a good distance. I feel like in an actual roller coaster theme park or amusement park, it would have stuff similar to this. Pretty much just small little things. You can see here they're putting in some trash bins now as well. Since these are the first shops that I've put in, I don't have any garbage bins in here yet, so people would just end up throwing garbage on the ground. The other thing I realized after I put those in is I didn't hire any staff for my park yet. So you can see there, actually, that's something interesting that I noticed in here, is in the custom building section, you can actually get vantage points. So if you have a section of your park that's empty and people aren't walking toward that end, I feel like these vantage point things, you can hide them in scenery, and then people will walk to that portion of the park, so it'll give you more of a spread in the park rather than just people walking kind of only to the roller coasters and back. This is when I get into a little bit more custom building, and I've kind of figured a little bit out as I was doing this. I spent a good probably 20 minutes on this building in actual time, and it worked out well for me. And as you can see here, I tried copying it over. It didn't work super well. I ended up having to delete actually part of the path and redoing part of that. It was kind of a mess. I wish that it was a little bit easier to do some of that, but it worked out in the end. I was able to just move them and copy them and bring them back over to the path. And here you go, you can tell that I didn't hire any employees yet, so went to the staff thing, just hired a bunch. I feel like this should be enough for the time being, but we might eventually have to go back and hire some more as this park grows. But as you can see here, I'm trying to go into a little bit more detail with my buildings rather than just a box with kind of a front that's different. So I changed it up a little bit and added some support beams, added some cross beams, kind of just made it look a little bit more Western, which I feel like it turned out really well. I feel like once you kind of see the finished product that I got, it looks nice. I need to figure out a sign for it, as you can see here, and then I kind of got frustrated with the building eventually and just decided to leave it as is and then go work on the scenery for the roller coaster. Oh, actually, I forgot. I did put lights on them, and then I did put lights in the kind of main path area as well. Nothing too fancy, just kind of some like little street lights that I felt were close enough to the time period, but not necessarily, out of an amusement park kind of feel. I definitely want to try to keep this park more realistic, cartoonish, like, so going with the Planet Coaster feel, using their materials, but also try to make it based off of something that you could see in real life. And I believe that was it for that section. Oh no, I feel like I do a little bit more. I do the signage for Mustang, and it took me a little bit to figure out how the sign worked and to figure out what font I wanted. I mean, in this time, like it's the sped up time or time lapse. It goes quick, but it took me a little bit to kind of figure out how all of that worked. But I feel like it turns out pretty well. And then I, aimed the attraction sign or like the signage to Mustang. And what's really cool is at night, it's kind of got this lit up kind of effect to it. So here I was just kind of walking around the park and noticed little things. Um, I didn't like that spark thing on that broken sign. Eventually I figured it's broken, just leave it. But every time I got close to it, it was making that sparking sound, and it just kind of got a little annoying. And here I tried to incorporate more of the ponderosa pine kind of trees. And then I realized like none of my other scenery on Mustang had that, so I eventually just ripped them all out and went with the dying trees and cacti again on this one. So I think that's going to be the theme throughout most of this park is more cacti, Joshua trees, and the little like bushes and stuff. I think this is looking pretty good. I get the scenery on this probably about 90% of the way to where I want it in this video. There are still some little things that I want to do, but I feel like those might be something that I just show in like a recap or something that I just mention quickly in the beginning of the next video. Other than that, I feel like most of this is going pretty well. There is the entrance building I have to address. I know I keep saying I'm going to go back over there and get to it. I haven't had any inspiration for that section of the park yet. And I know you might wonder why I have two sections of path over there. The one section of path I'm going to use for kind of like a people mover, something like a steam train or something of that kind of nature, monorail maybe. And then as this park starts to grow a little bit more, I will actually add in that type of people mover ride or attraction to help get people from the front end of the park to the back end of the park, or the back to the front, or maybe like have 4 stops along the way, 5 stops or something like that. But I was kind of thinking ahead that it does need something like that, and I know there has been parks that I've been to where they usually have a people mover of some sort near the entrance, maybe not right off the entrance like what I'm going to do, but pretty darn close. Usually right off the main entrance. I know there's like the gift shops and those kind of things, and I don't really want that in this one. I want the main section of this park to be the center, kind of like that crossroad section that we built, and then kind of go from there. And I think it looks good. I do need to still get the station building on there, but other than that, I think that's pretty much it for this video. I think it's pretty much about ready to wrap up. And as always, if you have any suggestions or ideas, please go ahead, leave them in the comments, message me. I do have a Twitter. It's linked in my description. So with that, I'm signing off. Have a good day.